Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Series Special Missions Cobra Island Alvin Kibbey with Ram Cycle. Now, before everyone asks, oh, Target canceled my order, the pre-order doesn't come out until this and then when, I don't even remember when it comes out. I got mine. I won it in a raffle for 20 bucks. It came from Singapore. It took about 11 days or so to get to me. It went to the wrong post office first, and then it got a couple of things, but I'm happy to have it. I actually have a barbecue on my way from the same guy I won in another raffle, and I made a trade with him, so I actually have two barbecue figures coming in. But here we have the Breaker in it, and I am very pleased with it. The motorcycle looks really cool. Breaker himself looks like a very good figure, and somebody mentioned, hey, are you going to do a head swap with Mysterio? And now I am, because holy shit, I didn't think of that before, but that could work as a custom Jake Gyllenhaal Quentin Beck head sculpt for Mysterio. So we'll check that out. And we'll take a look at the accessories and all that good stuff. The packaging is the same as the previous Baroness with Cobra Coil, which I have here, minus the Baroness figure, of course. It is the same packaging, except you can see there, blue G.I. Joe versus the red Cobra. But it is the same size packaging and everything. The back of the package is the same, but it calls out different locations of Cobra Island. But it's essentially the same thing, same image, again, just with the difference in the called out location or the focused featured locations. As you can see, he is number 29 in the Classified Series line. We have the side artwork there of Breaker looking very cool. It's so large with his mouth open there, so it's different from the one that's actually here. And then here we have the different insignias for Breaker. But let's just go ahead and take this guy and the motorcycle out of the package. Okay, and here is Breaker with the Ram Cycle out of the package. And a couple of things. The Ram Cycle is awesome. Lots of nice details to it. But the Breaker figure is actually pretty lackluster because with G.I. Joe, we're getting the same body use over and over and over and over again, which, you know, deco-wise, you know, they hide it well. He actually has new boots and feet, from what I could tell. A new vest, of course, because, you know, none of them really share the vest. But the rest of the legs and the torso, the body and stuff has been reused. We've seen it before. Not a deal breaker in any way whatsoever, but I just want to point that out, that it is a little disappointing given the lack of anything else that Breaker should come with. He has the awesome helmet there, but he doesn't actually come with any guns or weapons for his person. He has, you know, the whatchamacallit here for the God, what the hell? I lost it. The gatling gun right there, as it attaches to the Ram Cycle and into this encasement. Put the kickstand. So, you know, there's good things and stuff to go along with it, but that's for the Ram Cycle itself and not for Breaker. So that's, you know, again, pretty lackluster. But it's really cool. So let's zoom in on the gatling gun so we can kind of get that accessory out of the way. It's just all done in black plastic. Let's get Breaker out of there. But it looks pretty good. I need to go back and look at images to see if this is the same gun that actually comes with the heavy artillery roadblock that's exclusive to Amazon. Mine shipped out today. Originally was supposed to arrive tomorrow, but it looks like it's actually going to arrive Friday for me. But there, it looks pretty good. He has a handle, so I guess technically he could use this, you know, as an accessory for him, but really it's designed to go into this encasement for the Ram Cycle. So we can put it together like so. You can see a couple things. We got 36 USA's painted on there. We have that gray wheel there. The sculpting of this looks pretty good, so not bad. But now let's take a better look at the Ram Cycle. So here is the Ram Cycle. Lots of really cool detail in this motorcycle that is there. So this is what really stands out in this set. You know, at least Baroness with the Cobra Coil. I think Baroness was kind of the standout of that set, and the Coil bike was just kind of there. It was cool, I liked it, but it was really all about Baroness for me. Now this pack, you know, Breaker is just, you know, lackluster and a little disappointing to me, but the highlight is the Ram Cycle this go around. and it's done quite nicely. We get these black rubberish tires, sort of similar to the Cobra coil. We get this nice dark gray, almost like a gunmetal gray, but without kind of the metallic sheen to it. So it's just a dark gray. The rotor's on there, and you can see the dots that are actually sculpted in there, which would be holes for the rotor. That actually looks really nice. We get a little bit of color here on the shocks, which is pretty cool. The exhaust pipe, I don't know, let me zoom in on this, because this is actually a really cool little feature. So the exhaust pipe, right, because I guess, you know, we have the metal pipe, which would be here, that's just done in all black, but this tubing right here, if you look at it, you could see that it's sculpted with little bumps in there, and that could kind of represent kind of a hose portion, or if it was wrapped up. So I really like that texture detail that they actually have right there. Came out looking really nice. We get some painted silvers and blacks along with the green of the motorcycle for the motor and engine in there, so that is pretty cool. We get this nice American flag that looks like it's a little weathered, so that's definitely a nice touch that they added on there. A little bit of this gunmetal gray back there. We get red paint on the back where the light would be. Here we have the G.I. Joe logo. It says MG1027. We have the 36 there, and then up here we got what looks like Castle logo. If you guys know what that logo is, let me know down in the comments below. Looking at the front with this nice silver color there where a headlight would be. Windshield is a translucent black plastic. Here it actually says G.I. Joe MG1027 with that G.I. Joe logo. Kind of the same colors that we have in there, the silvers, the blacks, along with the greens. We get a little bit of silver paint added in here for the chain, which is actually a nice touch. I wouldn't have thought that, you know, that's something that that little detail that Hasbro would put in there, so that's pretty cool. Here we get a wrench logo. On the other side was that American flag. So there's that. There's that. Now if we look at the gauges, you can see it's sculpted nicely. You can't really make out what either of them are supposed to be, but it's done with the dials with the black, red, and then the lever, not the lever, but the pointer is done in red. That looks pretty good. The handlebars, just so you guys know, are on a ball peg joint, so you get some flexibility and movement in there when trying to put breaker onto the motorcycle and actually holding on to it. So be aware of that. The seat is black. You got a gas cap that's molded in there, and that looks pretty good. But yeah, there is the Ram cycle, looking really nice. And he does have the kickstand, so you can just fold that in. And of course he isn't going to be able to stay on his own, but the side of the Gatling gun, you can see you have these large pegs there. They peg right on into the sides here, and you can see that wheel sits flush on there, so it just sits perfectly just like that. Okay, so to do a Ram cycle and Cobra coil comparison, the coil is a much larger motorcycle, so it's much longer. So if you kind of line it up, you can see it's got a whole wheel length over the Ram cycle. The details are both there on both of them, so it's just kind of, you know, how you want to do it. But you have the ultimate G.I. Joe versus Cobra face-off that you could be having going like so. One thing I forgot to mention is the handlebars do turn the wheel, so that is a nice little touch. That's something that the Cobra coil just couldn't handle. So there we go. Okay, moving on to Alvin Breaker Kibbey. The figure is a hodgepodge of pieces from various different figures. So we have the legs, so the hip and upper legs from the boot up are the Snake Eyes legs. The arms are the Duke arms. The torso is the Beachhead torso. And the vest is new. The boots, as far as I can tell, are also new. So a lot of reuse of different parts and from different figures, something that we have not seen before yet with the different combination. It works, but it's just kind of weird seeing a G.I. Joe classified figure with nothing on his legs, no pockets, no holsters of any kind, no pouches, anything. So that's just kind of, the figure leaves a lot to be desired, and because it doesn't have any of that stuff to help get him to stand out. So his legs look kind of generic and small and just empty, I guess, if that makes sense, because he just doesn't have all the other things that's the other figures have had. Now, the direct accessory for Breaker is this helmet, which is quite nice. I actually really like this helmet. So taking a look at it, it's done in this soft rubberish material. It's mostly green, but we get some black for some portions of the helmet, as you can see there. That looks pretty good. We have this antenna that's on the right side. Then we have this microphone that comes out there in front. But what I really like is the visor, those lenses, how they go from a purple to a green color, kind of how like certain types of sunglasses and visors would really look. You have that kind of that color differential there. So they put that on there and it actually looks really good. We saw something similar with the Cobra Island Roadblock with his sunglasses, but it just came out looking really good. And it's a perfect snug fit right onto Breaker. You don't have to worry about it. You can kind of lift it up on him a little bit, or you could really drop it down to where his eyes are covered and he's wearing that helmet full on. But yeah, that looks really nice. But let's zoom in on Breaker. Okay, so let's zoom in on Breaker. You can see here his vest is a little bit of a darker green compared to the rest of the uniform he is wearing. And then we get these shoulder portions here that are black. So that's kind of like the strap. We get a couple of pouches in there. And then here on the back, it kind of comes together around the back, and that's all done in a black color. And then we have a peg hole on the back. Nothing to go with that peg hole. He doesn't come with a backpack of any kind. So that's a little too bad. I had mentioned before that, it's the beachhead torso up underneath his vest. You could kind of see the lined shirt that he has there, and then the butterfly joints are the same as beachhead, which really kind of throws it off. The vest really hides it, so you're not really going to be able to see how it looks, I guess. It's something that you have to have in hand, so it doesn't match like the rest of the shirt, but it's pretty well hidden because it's in the vest. But just so you are aware, it is the same butterfly joints from the beachhead figure, just the arms are different from the Duke figure. And then the rest of the figure, just, in that green color, elbow pad on his left is black. His knee pads are black. His boots are black. Again, I think these are new boots. The laces kind of go off to the side a little bit, and it has like this leathery texture to it. As you can kind of see the light glare off of it. So that's how you can really tell that they are new and we have not seen them before. But they look pretty good. I like the tread on the bottom of the boots and everything. They do have peg holes because to get him on the ram cycle, you can actually peg the feet onto the foot stands. So it kind of balances and keeps them on. So there is Breaker. Not terrible, but just he just comes with so much less compared to other G.I. Joe classified figures. It's a little unfortunate, but it is what it is. Let's zoom out for his articulation. Okay, so Breaker's articulation with the helmet, he can look down that much, he can look up that much, so it really doesn't hinder or anything, as you can see there. So that is all pretty good. That's because the neck itself is on a ball peg, so the neck can move, and then the head is on a ball hinge, so that's why you can get so much motion looking up. You get a full swivel, again, a little bit of pivot going on in there. The shoulders, you can get them to go out that much, basically straight out. You get a full rotation, upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbow like so, wrists swivel, and they do hinge. And here we have the vertical hinge, not the horizontal hinge, but he doesn't have any guns to hold that with. We have the butterfly joint, so we can get the arm to go back a little bit. The vest really does seem to kind of get in the way of using the butterfly joint. The vest seems a little bit larger and bulkier compared to some of the other vests we have. Not like Firefly bulky, but a little bit bulkier than like Beachheads. You can't get the ab crunch to work with this guy because of the vest, of course, but you get a little bit of swivel at that ball joint at the hip. You can get some circular motion in there, but again, it's that vest that's really going to hinder him quite a bit. We have the drop down legs. He can do the splits perfectly, like so, and then that really kind of triggers the drop down there. But kicking forward, he could kick quite high. We have an upper thigh cut in there. You get a double jointed knee like so. We have a boot swivel. Foot hinges all the way down. We get a little bit of hinge up, ankle pivot, and peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So decent articulation, but again, just kind of a weird mix mash, kit bash of different G.I. Joe pieces, and his legs just seem so bare compared to other G.I. Joe classified figures. But now that I think about it, well, he's going to be sitting on the Ram cycle, so is it really going to work with those things? Maybe not. So I guess it does make sense, but is he always going to be on the Ram cycle? No. It would be nice if we had those. You could kind of maybe slip them on or off, or just come out with some handguns or something for him to hold, because he just doesn't have anything right now. Okay, and before moving on, I am going to try this because some people have been asking. So we're going to pop the Mysterio fishbowl head off. We're going to pop Breaker's head off, and we're going to see... Whoops. We're going to see if this head will fit on the Mysterio body to work as a Quentin Beck, Jake Gyllenhaal head sculpt. And voila. Yes, it works. And holy hell, that looks pretty good. It obviously doesn't look like Jake Gyllenhaal, but it could quickly pass. If you're looking to do some photography, it definitely will work, and you can see you can get it on there. It's not the best on there. You have to force it a little bit, and then it's just going to kind of pop off easily, but man, that's pretty good. Like, if you look at it from there, right, you're just going to think, oh, that's Quentin Beck, that's movie Mysterio. So that's pretty cool. It's too bad Jake Gyllenhaal wouldn't sign off on his likeness. Otherwise, I'm sure we would have gotten one, you know, packed in. But I guess if you do this, there's an easy fix. Okay, so when putting Breaker onto the Ram cycle, what you want to really look out is kind of get the figure posed beforehand, and then you see these pegs right on the footrests. When you kind of get Breaker sitting onto it, you really want to make sure you get those feet pegged in there to kind of make sure that he stays on there, and you really don't have to worry about those legs going in ways that you don't want it to, because that really holds those feet in place. And then you can kind of lean him forward, and then with the handlebars on a ball joint, as you can see, that you can kind of get some pivot and some circular motion in there to really fit the hands, because it's kind of a pain in the ass getting the hands in there. It took me a couple of tries at first to do it, just because it was so much of a pain in the ass to do. And then, you know, luckily they're on that ball joint so they can kind of really work around. So the fingers on this guy seem pretty stiff, but you kind of have to spread them a little bit to be able to get him to hold on to the handlebars. But then once you do, voila, we have Breaker on the Ram cycle, like so. And then you can reattach the Gatling gun. As you can see, remember with those two large pegs, and then those get awfully close to his foot, but it goes in there. So with the Gatling gun attached, you can see it's going to be difficult to really peg that foot in there. That's why you really want to do it ahead of time. Okay, so there is Breaker all set up on the Ram cycle. As you can see, we got a little bit of a nice, a nice roll to it, and so far you can roll off of the little stand that I have here, but that looks really good. Obviously the kickstand is not needed when you have the Gatling gun attached, because it balances just fine on there. He can look straight out, which is really good when you really work the neck peg and the ball peg at the head. So it is really cool. You can kind of get him lower and going in that way. So lots of cool creative things that I think a lot of folks are going to be having some awesome pictures and photography going on with him. But there is Breaker with the Ram cycle. So the Ram cycle is awesome. Breaker's just okay. Okay, and there's my review of Breaker and the Ram cycle. The Ram cycle is the highlight and is really awesome. The Gatling gun is really cool. As you can see here on the end, I put one of those Black Widow smoke effects that came in the deluxe pack, or it may have been the Target exclusive pack. I can't really remember at this point. But it does port into the ends of the barrels there for the Gatling gun, which is pretty cool. And as you can see, Breaker can actually hold the Gatling gun, so it doesn't need to be shown like on the attached to the motorcycle at all. You can have him kind of holding it out on its own. But there it is. That looks pretty good. You're going to kind of have to balance him, and he kind of hold it in a little bit of an awkward kind of position. But a nice, fun set. Again, Breaker just comes with so little. It's kind of surprising with G.I. Joe Classified series. You know, not that they come with a huge amount of accessories, but we usually get you know, some kind of personal item as well as a weapon. The Gatling gun, I kind of count it, but kind of don't, because it really attaches to the ram cycle itself. It is a nice touch, but it's not something that, you know, Breaker's really going to be able to run around with. So a handgun or something, I think, would have really set this apart, so you can have a little bit more fun factor going on with it. His legs are bare. There's no pouches. There's no straps. There's no holsters. There's no nothing. We're not used to seeing that in G.I. Joe Classified series as well. We're used to seeing at least some pouches and some pockets and things like that. So to me, it's a little weird that he doesn't have any of that. Not a deal breaker, but still pretty cool. If you're into Marvel Legends and MCU, use that head for a Quentin Beck custom head sculpt for Jake Gyllenhaal. Mysterio, it works. It's actually pretty cool that you could do that. Obviously, it's not perfect, but it's something that you guys could pull off, so that's pretty cool. But you guys let me know down in the comments below, what do you think of this 2-pack, this vehicle pack, the Ram Cycle and the Alvin Breaker Kibbey? Let me know down in the comments below. What do you think of the Ram Cycle? What do you think of Breaker? Are you happy with both? Which one is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching.